Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Merritt here with S&P Futures. Today we're going to walk through crude oil and the E-mini S&P Futures and take a look at some of the best opportunities, what we saw on the day, walk through our hypos, and just give you a nice overview of the markets. As usual, we'll start with our hypos. Crude oil. Hypo 1 is hold inside or wick the upper end of an immediate small balance area from the overnight session, which is 52.40-ish for a short. Then we could break down 52.10 for more of a move down to 51. So not a too interesting day in terms of open type. See on the profile chart over here, we're opening inside the past 2 days range and value. Those are not typically ideal situations for trending or price expansion or whatnot, which is why we'll get to kind of my hypo 3, why I really needed to see something prove to me that we could hold beyond certain areas before I got involved with that kind of a trend. All right, so let's highlight that area, the 52.40. And we'll just make it red because we were bearish. And you can see where that comes from if we scroll back and take a look at the overnight session actually. It's the upper end of this small balance area that's forming. You can see the volume profile formed that node right there as well. So 52.40, if we could trade up into VWAP right there at the time and kind of wick that or hold that area, I'd look for a short. And not only that, Hypo 1, I'm mainly bearish on the session, entirely wrong for the day, but that's what looked like to me was most likely to unfold. So if we could trade through here and then here's that 52.10, if we could hold below 52.10, then that really opens up some much lower targets. Hypo 2, if there's an attempt to break down 52.10 and it fails, we'll look long against that region for a move up to 52.85. So let's get that 52.85. This area here. So essentially that's really what happened on the open. I was a bit late getting my prep to the room, which is unfortunate because one of the first things that happened, again, just before the open, we've seen this pattern in crude oil and the S&P over the past week or two, where some of the ideal trades come just a few minutes before the pit session open. It essentially attempted to break down that 52.10 and failed. Not a lot of selling involved on the tape as they tried it, and then that's a failure, and then we run up into 52.85s where we chop around as we approach inventories that came out at 11 today. So here you can see Hypo 1 on the market profile chart, bearish if we wick and hold 52.40. That didn't happen. What did happen was just before the open, the failure to break down 52.10, which led to this opening drive and run up to that target zone we have highlighted here, connected with that hypo. So again, that's where we consolidate for quite a while. There could have been some potential short opportunities once that destination was reached, but purely just kind of shorter term scalp plays. Once the number comes out, we do begin to stabilize above 52.85 after a quick kind of, inventories come out. You're going to see some stops run in both directions and whatnot. This high up here was not looking like a very good high at all. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 touches up into that high. Not surprising to see that get taken out. Could have looked short here. Not part of our hypos per se, but there wasn't a lot of oomph behind this move post inventory, and then we failed to break and hold above that 85 area. So it could have been a short opportunity there, but once you see this begin to stabilize above it and we go back into that kind of uptrend mode, it's really time to be looking long. against that area. Which takes us to hypo 3. Break and hold above 53.20s would have me very bullish and looking for trend continuation against that area. 53.20s is this area here. So if we could get above and hold 53.20s, that would be very bullish. Instead, we had one small attempt here. If you went with kind of a fast potential trend there, could have been feasible, but we settled into more of a complex pullback, finally went and kind of took out the high. But again, no hold beyond 53.20s. Not happening. Not a great day in crude oil for sure. Nothing really doing. Hypo 2 played out quite nicely, but beyond that, nothing really special at all. So hopefully this is more of a day to be patient, not get chopped up before inventories comes, not getting caught up in this mess. Our destination for hypo 2 had already been achieved. Potential failure trade here didn't work out. And then we kind of get on with some scalp opportunities to move up into the next area. And I really didn't like much of what I saw up in this area here. Very lackluster order flow in crude on the session. Notice delta never above our positive 0 level for the day. Very, very lackluster. On to the S&P. Also a tremendously lackluster day in the S&P in terms of order flow. I mean, ranging between, a couple thousand delta is no big deal for the S&P. We can, if that market's going to move, it can push 10, 20,000 delta, no problem. And so very, very quiet. Anyways, coming into the session, we had our pre-market prep. Pretty cut and dry here. CL was a bit more complex. S&P, we've got a much more narrowed down view of what's going on. Looking for a test and failure. We were below this level at the time. A test and failure up into the 26.39 to 43 zone. So we've got that highlighted over here on the market profile chart, 39 to 43. For a move down to 26.22. So we should actually have that level here. Hold below that, and then we've got 26 even for a stretch target. If we hold above that line in the sand, we're bullish with a target of 26.49. And then a stretch target, 26.60s up in here. So let's highlight that main zone of interest. So this red area here on this chart. In fact, let's draw it up here. It'll be cleaner on this chart. That. So it was a really good level to trade from today. There were one spots in which I thought that we would shift to hypo 2, but other than that, it was continual hypo 1 opportunity. Continual hypo 1 opportunity. I am going to look down here at the ETH chart because I was tracking that closer during the day. So, test off the open potential short just before the open. Test once we get open into the zone. Here's a test where there is no order flow reversal. There is no shift in the price action as we had. We always look for a turn to get involved. This instead blew through it. We get a nice little weak pullback. That is a shift to hypo 2 in my opinion. Probably a trade there where you get scaled out for a couple points and then you stop out on the remainder. And then what's there to do? at that point in time, and I think this is really key takeaway for today. It's a shift back to our original hypo. This happens often. You'll have a scenario, you express those ideas. If that gets violated, that idea gets invalidated, so to speak, hopefully you have an alternate scenario that you're prepared for. Doesn't mean you have a trade immediately always, but in this case we did because it was the same important zone for both long and short. In this case, you switch to hypo 2. That doesn't play out. So now it's back to hypo 1. Some of the best trades are where the market attempts to change condition and then reverts back to what it was doing before. Very similar conversation to one that we had recently in videos around failure trades. So this was kind of an overall failed attempt at carrying out hypo 2. So beautiful area to get back involved again. Beautiful area to get back involved again, either of those highs. Ultimately, we didn't make it down to this target, which is down in this zone here. Unable to make it down into the target. But as we mentioned, my goodness, the order flow just sideways all day. A bit more aggressive buying into the close, but very lackluster days in crude and S&P. But if you pick your spots well, if you continued to execute on your main hypos and plans for the day, and you had a really good framework with quality levels, there was a couple spots to at least get some partial profits before the core position was stopped out. And these are days where a pro trader, not even a pro, a consistently profitable trader, will grind out that small profit rather than the more amateur trader who gets frustrated with the lack of progression according to what they saw the potential for on the day and chops themselves up, and they're down 3-4 R on the day. Even worse if you don't have quality daily loss limits and things like that. But you're more astute trader with more experience and understanding that Mama said there'd be days like this. You're able to eke out that small gain or maybe even a break-even day after commissions or something like that. There should be plenty days like this in your trading, and it's nothing to hang your head about. It's part of the game, and you should manage your expectations accordingly. Hope that was helpful. We'll see y'all next time.